Roll call, please.
Councilman Woodford,
Present.
Councilman Henry,
Here.
Mayor Shelton,
Here.
Vice Mayor Epps.
Here.
Councilman Womack,
Here.
all present.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite those that wish to do so to stand for the invocation given tonight by Tony Marable, Director of Diversity and College of Engineering at TTU, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States flag.
Let us pray. Our Father, yours, O Lord, is the greatness and the power and the glory and the victory and the majesty. For all that is in the heavens and in the earth is yours. Yours is the kingdom of the Lord, and you are exalted as head over all things. Both riches and honor come from you, and you reign over all, and in your hand is power and might. In your hand it is to make great and to give strength to all. Now, therefore, our God, we thank you, and we praise your glorious name. Please give this council a perfect heart of wisdom to manage the affairs of this city. Let Cookeville, Tennessee be a great city set on a hill. Let it be the city that you've called us to be. Thank you for these wonderful men. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tony. At this time, we'll consider the approval of the agenda as presented. Are there any changes?
Mayor, there are no changes to the agenda.
Very good. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Item 4, old business. 4A, consider approval of minutes of council meeting held on August 6th. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Anyone like to speak to this? Seeing no comments, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
4B, consider on second and final reading ordinance O-150719, rezoning from RS20 single-family residential to RS5 single-family residential, property consisting of 10.48 acres located on the corner of Old Sparta Road and Bob Bullock Road, identified as parcel 24.02 on tax map 96. Mr. Mills.
Mayor and council members, this is a subject property depicted on the screen. There's an aerial view of the property. There's a site looking north and a view looking to the east. Existing zone, as you can see, it's surrounded by RS20. This area has had sewer extended to it. Our future land use plan calls or indicates that in these areas that have been annexed that we've now extended sewer to, that it would be appropriate to consider higher density, and that's what this is. It's RS5, it's single family residential, but higher density. This is a proposed site plan or subdivision plat should the property be rezoned. This rezoning was approved unanimously by the Planning Commission. It's recommended by the Planning Department. We've had no calls or comments since first reading.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion among the council?
Mr. Mayor, this is the RS20 because the city annexed so many acreage many years ago. This is something you're going to see more and more of because the city's growing. The industry we've talked about coming in and just internally. The open spaces that are RS20 right now, you're going to be seeing those asked to be changed to RS5 or for the increase in housing. So this is a trend that we're going to start seeing more and more of.
Yeah, especially as sewers extended to these areas. That's the key here, and that's what's happened out here.
Very good. Anything else? Seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 5C, consider on second and final reading ordinance O-150820, amending Title 8, Chapters 3, 4, and Title 11, Chapter 6 of the Cookeville Municipal Code relative to alcohol and beer. Mike Davidson.
Mayor and council members, this ordinance does change various sections of our alcohol and beer code. There have been no changes to the ordinance since first reading. There's been no calls or comments either, so I would recommend approval.
Very good. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Item 6, consent agenda. 6A, consider awarding bids for semi-annual paving and mineral aggregate from the Public Works Department. 6B, consider approval to purchase 157 sanitation carts, sole source provider, Public Works Department. And 6C, consider awarding bid for decorative poles from the Electric Department. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions or comments? All vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Item 7, new business. 7A, consider approval of proposal for Christmas tree and lighting for Dogwood Park. Rick Woods.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. We sent out a request for proposals for Christmas tree and lighting in Dogwood Park for this Christmas season. And we received 2 proposals, and open and read proposals on August 13th. They were evaluated by 5 different members of our staff and some council members and members of our community. Proposals were evaluated on the following criteria: experience of the company, qualifications, references, the price, the ability to meet the deadline, and the overall quality of that particular proposal. And we had companies scored and average, and I provided that there for you. And so the top company coming out of that process was Extreme Lightscapes, and based on those scores of the evaluated proposals, we recommend working with Extreme Lightscapes not to, in an amount not to exceed $78,091 for all of the options and everything that we put into our request for proposal. So I would be happy to answer any questions you might have, and I'd recommend your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion?
How long will these lights last roughly? What's the estimated life? You know, so you.
They're LED lights, and so the lighting on the trees will be LED lights, so that gives us a greater life of the lights themselves. So it depends on the amount of usage that they get, obviously. Everything is warranted on the proposal. So if there's some malfunction or some problem, they will be replaced. But then regular burnout, I really don't know how long they will last before needing to be replaced just out of use. And again, it depends on the amount of use that they get.
But it's several years at least.
Yes.
Typical LED lights like that, many of them are 100,000 hours, so you can imagine, I mean, that's literally years. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Good job.
Any other comments? No. Well, we're excited about this project. It's like as Vice Mayor Epps has said, a gift to give back to the community, something to have that, you know, Dogwood Park's one of our greatest assets, and to be able to now add some pieces into that it's going to make that truly a great place for families to visit during the holidays, along with our other pieces that we're adding in there with the festival atmosphere that we're going to have through the month of December. So we're excited about that and to celebrate that. All right. Seeing no other comments, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. 7B, consider awarding bids for 3 police SUVs and 3 police sedans. Chief Evans.
Mayor and council, as you know, we solicited bids for police pursuit vehicles, specifically SUVs and sedans. We did receive 1 bid from Golden Circle Ford. As we compared that bid to the statewide contract, who ironically that same vendor has the statewide contract, in comparing the two, obviously the statewide contract is a much better price. I'm going to recommend that we reject the Golden Circle Ford bid and accept the statewide contract price. The price you see there does reflect a 7% quick pay discount. So once we receive those vehicles and are invoiced for those vehicles, and we have 30 days to pay that invoice to receive that discount. And that is a budgeted item for 3 sedans and 3 SUVs. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve state bid.
Second.
Motion, second. Discussion? Questions?
Chief, let me just, and I think the structure of the process now precludes local dealers from bidding on this. Talk about how that works. We're always interested in taking care of folks locally if we can, and this may be one of those situations where that's not possible.
Yes, sir. Well, over the past probably 4 or 5, at least 4 years, we've not received any local bidders. We do advertise that bid, and we even send out those bid requests to local dealerships. And I think just because of the volume purchasing and selling through the statewide contract process, it just allows that vendor that gets the statewide contract bid to just far exceed anything that a local vendor could do or dealer could do, so.
I can shed some light on it because I used to be in that business. The manufacturers decided that individual dealers, for the most part, they wanted to take away that part of the business and have a particular, and they, in Tennessee, since the state is divided into 3 sections, east, middle, and west, in this case, I'm going to speak about General Motors. They would designate a dealer in each of our grand divisions, and they were the only ones allowed to bid on like state bids or commercial bids. So a local dealer, like a local GM dealer, even though they could get bid specs, they could not bid a number comparative to what the other. So the manufacturer is designated who gets to bid on these now. So it's not that we're bypassing a local business. The manufacturer is determined they can't, in most part, do that.
Thanks. Any other comments? Seeing none, I'll vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7C, consider awarding bid for annual vehicle servicing oil change for all departments. Kathy McLean.
Mayor and council, this is an annual vehicle servicing bid for 1 year, and we received 2 bids on August the 17th. The low bidder is $22.74 per oil change, and this includes the 14-point service check, safety check, and preventive maintenance. And the other bid we received was $22.95 from Express Lube. The low bidder was Clean Care Auto Care, and I recommend the low bidder.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Question or discussion? Seeing none, I'll vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7D, consider approval to purchase a tree limb cutter attachment with quick hitch for boom mower, sole source provider, Public Works Department, Greg Brown.
Mayor and council, we solicited a quote for a attachment to our boom mower. The attachment we have now looks kind of like a big bush hog. This is more, will cut like a chainsaw for when we're cutting trees with large limbs. This will make a little better cut. The price for the head is $15,052. We've got a price for a quick hitch, which will allow us to go from one head to another without tearing up equipment. The price for that is $4,311. The combined price is $19,363. I request your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion? I received a couple calls. I know we talked about this, the necessary evil of cutting the overgrowth onto the roadways, and what we've been using makes it look much like almost like a tornado came through. And so hopefully this will allow a much cleaner cut, and those things heal quicker, right? I mean, that's
Well, particularly on the large branches, it'll do a lot better job. It'll look better.
very good. All right, anything else? All vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. 7E, consider authorizing the city manager to enter into an engineering agreement to design improvements and equipment additions at the South Cookeville Substation, Electric Department, Tony Peak.
Mayor and council, this engineering proposal, as you mentioned, Mayor, is for our South Cookeville 161 to 69 kV. It's the reason we are buying a transformer to go there. We've negotiated a price with Allen & Oshel Engineering Firm, and for a not to exceed value of $128,700 for that project, and I'd request your approval.
Thank you. Motion?
Motion.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
And 7F, consider authorizing the city manager to enter into an engineering agreement to provide project management, design overview, and construction administrative services for the South Cookeville Substation construction contract. Again, Electric Department, Tony Peak.
Mayor and council, this is the same project as the mayor read. This is for project management, design overview, and construction administrative services for the substation construction contract. Negotiated a not to exceed value of $34,000. Recommend Thomas Barnes and request your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any question or discussion? Seeing none, I'll vote.
Thank you.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. At this time, we'll have the time for citizens' requests for hearing before the city council. If we have anyone that would like to speak to the council on any matter? Yes, sir. Couple of points of order. You can step up to the lectern here. Step to the podium and state your name and address, and a statement of no more than 3 minutes may be made on items of general relevance. Once the timer sounds, you'll need to wrap up your comments within about 10 seconds, and comments should be directed to the entire council, not individual members, and obviously engaging any verbal attacks or comments intended to insult or abuse or slander any individual shall be cause for termination of time privileges. So you're welcome to speak, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Rick Alberson. I live at 174 Enzor Drive. Forgive me, I'm not a public speaker. But I'd like to bring something to this council attention. I know this is a trivial matter in a lot of circles, but my wife and I bought the property at the beginning of the year, January, and we just received a utility bill. Annoyingly, we had a water leak, and I was told by the folks from the city that came out that this occurred all because of a toilet running that we were not aware of, and so forth and so on. And my usage went from 5,000 gallons to 170,000 gallons. The bill that was presented to me was $1,300. It was adjusted according to city ordinance. In the process of this, it wasn't that the city folks, Mr. Teach and Cindy Middlebrook in billing, they worked with me in adjusting the bill and getting a payment set up. In my work and my research here, I learned that we, the city of Cookeville, are outsourcing our billing to a firm in Alabama. That struck me just as odd. Why are we outsourcing the billing aspect? Because the problem it was causing with Cindy is she was telling me that she can't do adjustments on the late fees because the billing is done in a firm in Alabama. So my question to the council is, was that done by a bid process, or why are we using outside the state of Tennessee to do our billing, and there's no way they can do an immediate correction on the ledger? So I'm going to have to constantly create some kind of ledger or some kind of face-to-face with Cindy Middlebrook to go in and out to make sure that the balance is paid. And I was wondering also, has the city council ever considered, since we just bought the property, a one-time waiver for all citizens? If this happens to you, you've just moved in, the property was renovated, new toilets, the whole 9 yards. Has the city council ever considered giving a one-time waiver for first offenders? Because you get shocked with, we need to know this was 170,000 gallons, and on top of that, I did my research. I can't find any data online, even from the EPA, that says a toilet running 24/7 can't produce that much water loss. The best I found online was a range from 7,000 to 12,000 gallons if it was running 24/7 for a whole month. I know it's a trivial matter, but this kind of thing, it tears up somebody's monthly budget.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your comments. Did you want to you want to speak to that one matter about?
I was just going to say, Mr. Albertson, if you'll get with me after the meeting, I think you're a little confused on the billing process, and we'll just talk for a few minutes, and I think we can work the billing part out for you, explain that, and set that up to where it'll hopefully work for you on a monthly basis.
Okay, thanks,
Okay?
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
I've got
Yes, sir.
one. The Healthier Tennessee met for the second time yesterday afternoon at the Putnam County Health Department. About 30 people were there. We've reached a consensus on several things for physical activity, several things for nutritional activity, and several things for cessation of tobacco use, smoking. And I think that's going to be adjusted. We're going to meet another couple of times on the third Wednesday of every month to try to get more things for Healthier Tennessee. But we're going to introduce these things right now and send it to the governor's office, and I think we'll be classified as a healthier Tennessee city in the very near future. So everybody's welcome to come to it, 3:30, the third Wednesday of every month at the Putnam County Health Department.
Thank you for your work on that, too. Anybody else? We will be adjourned.
Oh.